It's Randy Orton. Oh.
I have voices in my head. They counsel me. They understand. They talk to me.
Hey guys, what is up? Mr. Beatline Nano here, and today I'm going to do my predictions for NXT Takeover Dallas, a show that I'm really excited for. Actually, I think this could be a exceptional show. I think there's some fantastic matches on here, and it could quite easily become the best NXT Takeover special, and could very well top WrestleMania as well. As for my WrestleMania predictions, those will probably be coming around Tuesday, Wednesday, hopefully. I'm gonna try and do it after Monday Night Raw. See what happens there. You know, in case any matches get added last minute. I mean, I don't think they will, but just in case, you know. But anyway, let's get on with the predictions for NXT Takeover Dallas. I think the first match we'll look at, just because it's a match I don't really care about, and I'm not even sure if it's been officially announced, but Apollo Crews versus Elias Sampson. This is a match I just don't really care about. I mean, I like Apollo Crews. You know, I think the guy's a great in-ring worker. You know, great build, just great athleticism in general. I still think he's still fairly green to some degree. I think you know, in terms of his skills on the mic, they're not necessarily the best, but you know, he can progress and build over time. He's still got bags of potential, definitely. I think Elias Sampson, he's a guy who I really just don't like. I think the whole drifter character is just really boring. Like, he doesn't do anything interesting in my eyes. He just walks to the ring with a guitar, just sits, just doesn't really do anything to excite me. I just find him extremely boring. But as who do I think is going to go over? I'm thinking Apollo Crews will go over, simply because I think they're building him up as a top guy for NXT. Probably will go on to hold on the title at some point. Elias Sampson had his first loss against oh god, his name's just gone out of my head. I don't know how that's happened. Johnny Gargano, that's it. Yeah, he just went out of my head. Yeah, Johnny Gargano. So he lost to Johnny Gargano quite recently, and then Elias Sampson attacked him afterwards. Apollo Crews came out. I just don't see them making Sampson win here. I don't see them building him as a, top, and a title contender for NXT. So I think they'll probably have Crews go over here. The next match I want to look at is Austin Aries versus Baron Corbin. I think, considering that this is his first match in NXT. I think probably Austin Aries will beat Baron Corbin. I know Corbin's an interesting one, because he quite often he's lost his big matches. But I think he's one of those guys who he's definitely gotten a lot better. As time's gone by, he's definitely developed a character. He knows what he's doing, and the guy's improved in the ring as well. I would say definitely leaps and bounds. I think, although I will say he did get a surprise win against Apollo Crews in London, in my opinion. But I do think Austin Aries will win. It's his first match. They're going to want to cement him as a threat in NXT, and I think him beating Baron Corbin would really help that, in my personal opinion. So I'm going to go with Baron Corbin to win this match. Next, we'll look at the NXT Tag Title match. So that will be the Revival, which is obviously Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder. They'll be facing American Alpha, Jason Jordan, and Jack Gable. This could be a really good match, actually. I think this has the potential, maybe not to show steal, but definitely to, just be a fantastic match. I think, the Revival are very underrated in-ring workers. They've had some good matches with Enzo and Cass in London and at Roadblock. Jordan and Gable obviously are, well-renowned in-ring workers. And I'm really glad that Jordan and Gable are getting over, because, before even American Alpha was about, Jason Jordan was just a guy who was boring you know, had no real interest in. And he was in that awful team with Ty Dillinger, but now Jordan's gone on to form another team with Gable, and it's just so much better than the guy. They work so well off each other, and they have great chemistry. Who do I think is going to win this? I'm going to go with American Alpha. I think, you know, this is the time to put the belts on them. They're so over at the minute. They've got so much momentum going for them. I think it'd be pretty stupid not to put the belts on American Alpha. I think this is the best time to put the belts on them. I think if they do it any later, it won't be the same. I think, in my opinion. The next match we'll look at is for the NXT Women's Championship. It'll be Bayley defending against Asuka. Now this is an interesting one because it's a match that I'm kind of not sure on. I could see it going either way. However, I have I thought about it for a while, and I was thinking, you know, who will go over in this matchup? And I'm thinking that they'll probably go on the routes of, well, Asuka's undefeated in NXT. She hasn't actually been beaten yet. Bayley's been champion for a fair amount of time since NXT Takeover Brooklyn. I think they're probably going to want to continue this feud simply because the depth of women on the roster isn't necessarily that great at the moment in NXT. I mean, you've got Bayley, you've got Asuka, you've got Dana Brooke and Emma, you've got Eva Marie and Nia Jax. You've got some of those other, like, you know, women's wrestlers who, like, often, you know, do squash matches, but I don't really count them. Like, there's not that many. Oh, and you've got Alexa Bliss as well. How could I forget her? But you've got, like, about 7, like, women on the roster at the minute. It's just not necessarily got a huge amount of depth. So I think they need to have this kind of feud between Bayley and Asuka go on a while they kind of rebuild the women's division. So as for who I think is going to win, I'm going to go with Bayley. I think, obviously, Asuka, you know, is probably going to dominate the matchup, as she should. You know, she's a complete beast in the ring, and just those kicks just look lethal. But I think she will dominate most of the match, and Bayley will get some sort of win by roll up, or maybe she'll get like with Nia Jax, which should choke her out, or something like that. But I think they're going to want to continue this feud while they rebuild the women's division. So I think Bayley will probably hold on to the belt for longer. Next, we'll look at Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura. I think this will probably be match of the night. I think, you know, these are arguably two of the greatest in-ring workers in the world now. I think, you know, Zayn just came off, you know, some good matches with Samoa Joe. Nakamura's a new fresh face coming in from New Japan. I think these two can tear it up, have a classic matchup. I think these guys could tear the house down and maybe even have a match of the year contender. Who knows? But I think this will be something that, you know, it'll be a sight to see. Let's just put it that way. As for who I think is going over, well, Sami Zayn's clearly transitioning onto the main roster, whereas Nakamura's, you know, transitioning his way onto NXT. So I think Zayn will probably put over Nakamura, while Zayn, you know, goes onto the main roster, will compete. Nakamura obviously will then cement himself in NXT, and I think a win against Zayn could really help him as well. So I'm thinking that Nakamura will go over here. And now we get onto the main event for the NXT. Well, I think this will be the main event. I mean, they could end up doing Nakamura and Zayn, who knows? But the match that I think will probably main event, Finn Balor and Samoa Joe for the NXT Championship. As for who I think obviously they had the match at Takeover London. A lot of people were thinking Samoa Joe would win. One of them being myself. I thought Samoa Joe was going to win the NXT title, but he didn't, and Finn Balor held onto the belt for longer. And I think now Joe will get the belt. I think it's looking like Balor is going to go off to the main roster soon. Whether it will be the night after WrestleMania or whatever, who knows? But I do think that there will be there will be a new NXT champion in Samoa Joe. I think Balor's had a really lengthy reign as NXT champion. you know, he won it on that July 4th special in Japan, and you know, I think, you know, it'll be just, I think Samoa Joe will win, and in fact Balor will slowly transition into the main roster. So thank you guys for watching this predictions video. As I said, my WrestleMania one will probably be out Tuesday or Wednesday, and if you haven't already, guys, please like and subscribe.